Hey fellow gliders, welcome back. Today we are going to do a build from scratch. So I'm going to show you my thought process from beginning to end and maybe learn some things along the way. So the app premise for today is going to be a checkout system for this Breakout EDU kit that I'm building on the left hand side here. So Breakout EDU is an escape room type kit for education, and I have colleagues who are checking out these kits, and I need to know which kits are checked out, as well as the different combinations that these teachers are setting. So then that way I know to reset them. I know how to reset them when they are returned. So we're going to build a checkout system using Glide. And specifically, we're going to use Glide pages for this one. So I'm going to create a new project here. I'm going to call this Breakout EDU Checkout. And I'm going to select Glide Pages. I think this is my very first ever Glide Pages build on YouTube. So you'll learn some things about Glide Pages here. Why Glide Pages? Because most of the time these teachers are on their desktops. So they'll probably be using their laptops or their desktops to check out the system, not their phones. So Glide Pages. Now, if you're building your own Glide page, feel free to start with one of these. I've already built Glide Pages before. I already have an idea as to what I want to do. So I'm going to start with blank here and continue. And I'm going to do mine completely in Glide tables. And create page. All right, so with Glide Pages, one thing to keep in mind is that they'll start you off with a home page, and they'll start you off with like this dummy users table and this empty table here, right? For my users table, these are going to be all the teachers who are using the app. So I'm going to trash all of these roles here, and it looks like the email column that has row owners turned on. We can leave that on. This is going to be an internal app anyway, so the only sensitive information here is email, and we already have each other's email, so if I wanted to, I could probably turn off row owners, but just to keep things secure, I'll keep it on. Now, when it comes to building out the tables, I like to keep the end in mind. So in the end, what we need is a log that keeps track of all the kits that are checked out and the combinations of those kits. That means I need to have a table of the kits and a table of all of the items within those kits. So I'm going to create a couple of tables here. The first one is going to be a kits table, and this will be just the name of the kit. That's really all we need. I'll turn on row owners here. This is basically just going to be like which kit they're selecting. And I have two kits. I have kit A and kit B. So let's mark those. And it looks like this large image here for the large Breakout EDU image. So I can include an image. Double click. So it's basically this image here. I'll just drag that in. All right. All right, after I have my kits, then I need to have my locks. So these are all the lock types. Or maybe it's more than just locks. So it's kit items. This empty table is going to be my log at some point. I'm keeping that for next. Okay, so within the kit items, we have a large box. We have a small box, and we have a description. We'll have an image. And I guess I could just like link to it, but I think it'd be kind of fun just to copy and paste. Let's see, probably just this information here, like that. All right, so I'm going to take some time just to add all of these Breakout EDU items to this table. All right, so I've added all of the items that belong to the kit into the kit items table, and now I need a way for them to check out the kits and select which items they want. And when they select the items, record what combinations maybe they're using if it is a lock type. All right, so in this empty table here, here's where I want to grab the checkout person's name, their email so I can contact them later, the date which they're checking it out, Maybe like date needed. Maybe start date needed. Maybe they need it for more than one day. And then I'll duplicate this and do end date needed. And then I'll do a timestamp as to when they filled out the form. Add a row ID, because that's always good. Let's see, what else? I'll need to know which kit. Okay, then I need to basically transpose all of these items because it's going to be like a true false, I think. For some of these to be true false, yes, they need the large box, yes, they need the small box, and then if they choose that they're going to have 3-dimensional or the 3-digit lock, we need a true false and then also what the combination is for each of the locks. That's what I'm guessing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and spend some time just to transpose all of those items into this empty table. This is going to be the form, the log, checkout log, as column types. So for example, this large box is going to be a large box column. And I'll make it a Boolean to say that yes, they need it or don't need it. All right, so I'm going to spend some time just going through and creating new columns. Okay, actually, I've changed my mind. I started filling this out and I realized that the only information I need from them, I'm going to give them the entire kit that's going to contain all of these things. The only information I need is the lock combinations that they're using. So I don't need to know whether or not they're using the large box or the small box or the hasp because we're going to give them those things anyway. It's just the lock combinations we need. Okay, so for each of these, I'm going to have a duplicate. We'll call this combo. I'm going to copy that for later. And instead of a Boolean, we'll make it a text because I want to have them put in the combination for each of these. So I'm going to just do a duplicate, text, duplicate, text. Yeah, it's extremely important to know what these combinations are, so that way, in case they forget, I can unlock it and reset it for the next person who wants to use it. Text. 2 more. 1 more. All right. So that's going to be my log. I think that's the only information I need out of this. And then from here, now it's a matter of just building out the interface. All right, so welcome to Glide Pages. All right, so if you've never seen Glide Pages before, a lot of the components are similar, but there's also brand new components that don't exist in Glide apps. For example, we have all of these different title components and collections. Think of collections like inline lists, but they're set up to be a specific type. We have headlines, which is the same thing as text, but it's got, it's the bold versions of those. We have big numbers that show like big blocks of numbers. Fields is kind of like basic table meets action text with no action. Button block is cool because you can actually do more than one button at a time. And then you have this thing called like these different form containers, which you can actually have an inline form right inside your app. So kind of neat. For this purposes, we only need a collection. I'm going to do a grid collection here and make the size extremely large. Boom. And this is going to be of the kits. Let me always make it large. And then whether or not the kit is checked in or checked out, we'll build out that condition in a bit. Okay, so then from here, what I need to happen is that if it is available, it's going to open up a form. So I'm going to still open it. So I don't want it to go to the details screen. So instead, what I'm going to do is instead of show a details screen, I'm going to go to show a form screen. And here, one nice thing about Glide Pages is that instead of just going to a new screen, you can show it as an overlay. So I have a small overlay or a large overlay. Since this is a larger form, I'll do a large overlay. And so now when you select it, you see we have this overlay right on top. So that way they're not being taken outside of some other screen, which is kind of cool. All right, so then from here, we're going to write these values to the checkout log. All right. And a lot of these things I'm going to pass along the back. So for the timestamp, that's just going to be the date and time. The name of the person is going to be the user's name. Emails for the owner. Okay. So the start date needed, end date needed. So the start date can only be today or later. And the end date needed again, I guess today or later. I'll make both of these required. The kit that they're choosing is a screen column. You can just grab the name of the kit. Kit A, Kit B. Okay, and so now we have these different locks. So I'm going to have some prompting here. I'll have a text just kind of in here like this. And we'll say select the locks you plan on using. And we'll make this a headline small. So look like this. Got a separator in there. Okay. And so for each of these text entries, we want these to be required, but we don't want them to show up if they're not using it. This text entry for the ABC multi-lock, for example, it's going to be required, but we're only going to show it when ABC multi-lock is true. So yes, it's required, but if it's not visible within the form, then it won't be required. Actually, it'll only be required if it's visible, which is cool. And the ABC multi-lock is a 5-letter, I think it's 5 letters. So the minimum length should be 5, maximum length should be 5. Should always be 5. Enter 5 letters. Example, A, B, C, D. All right, so I built out the first multi-lock. I'm going to go ahead and do the same process for the remaining locks. All right, for this directional multi-lock, what I'm looking to do is I want them to put in arrows left, right, up, down. And so I know they might not have access to like the emojis or Unicode or whatever like that. So I have a button bar underneath here that I'm going to show up. This button bar will show up when the directional multi-lock is true. And then each of these buttons has a condition to copy the arrow, so then they can come over here and paste. And then because this is a 5-code lock, I have a limit set to it only having 5 characters. And so if they don't need the directional multi-lock, the whole thing turns off. For the color multi-lock, I'm planning on using colored emojis. And it looks like this lock has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different values. Actually 10. So 10 different values. Hopefully there's 10 different colors in the emojis. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and with this switch, or the color multi-lock option here again, visible only when color multi-lock is true. And make it required. Again, min length 5, max length 5, and then I'm going to clone this button block. So it already has something to do in there. And then I'm going to show when color multi-lock is true. So if they tap on color multi-lock, then they'll have this show up. But I need not 4 buttons, I need 10. So I need to add 6 more. So let's see if it lets me, what that looks like. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, getting a little cramped. So instead of the word clear, we'll see. I might have to just do like an X or something on there. And then for each of these, since I'm only doing the one emoji, I'll have to forego the word copy and instead just have the color. All right, so we have red, orange, yellow, green, blue, pinkish, white, black, gray. Looks like there's 2 blacks. That can't be right. Why would there be 2 blacks? So maybe there's only 9 then. So we'll get rid of 1. So instead of this, we'll just go based on the colors of the rainbow here. So I'm going to do red first. And I'm going to edit this action. Like that. Okay, I'll just go down the row. So we'll have orange. So these 4 are going to be pretty easy because I already have those set up, but the other ones are going to be, I have to set up the other 6 here, or 5, unfortunately. So yellow, green. All right, I'll do the remaining colors and we'll go on. Okay, something like this. So I have the ability to clear. Oh, I should have cleared. Oh, wrong one. There we go. So clear. Then they can copy red, so it's red, red, orange, blue, blue, gray, or something. Oh, it's counting as more than 1. The colored emojis, counts as 2 apiece, it looks like. Okay. So we'll have to turn off the limit. Okay, shape multi-lock, same thing, but we have different symbols here. So we'll just copy everything over from the colored one, but then replace it with Unicode shapes. All right, so put the final touches on this one, on the shape multi-lock. And again, we want to set the column here. This will clear not the color, but the shape. All right, so let's just test this out. Star, square, circle, triangle, where I can clear. Cool. All right, the number multi-lock is just 5 digits. So that one's easy. That one we don't need any sort of fancy buttons. So the number multi-lock will just be visible when number multi-lock is true. And again, min length be 5, max length 5, placeholder. I can do enter 5 numbers, example 1 through 5. And I guess we can do let's go ahead and put in some placeholder text for these 2. So use the buttons to enter 5 shapes, example. Okay, color, maybe the same thing. Let's do yellow and green. And the directional. Enter 5 arrows. Okay, so we'll clear. Consistent. So then 3-digit lock. So min length 3, max length 3, required placeholder. Enter 3 numbers. For example, 1, 2, 3. Required when number 3-digit lock is true. Cool. And lastly, the 4-digit lock. enter 4 numbers, example 1, 2, 3, 4. Show when 4-digit lock is true. All right, so let's close the forms, go back into it again. Let's turn these all on just to make sure everything looks correct. Yeah, that looks all right. If I wanted to, I could probably place each of these types of locks into its own container, just to kind of separate them a little bit. Let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to use a container. I'm going to put it over here. I'm going to insert like the ABC, for example, into its own. And in the container, you can set the background to be like a card like this. That way it's all kind of contained in its own little deal. I think it just looks a little cleaner, right? Rather than one big, long, massive like list of things. So I'm going to try doing this. Yeah, it looks nice, because then let's say I'm not doing a multi-lock and I'm just doing the directional multi-lock. You see like all the buttons and this, whatever, it's contained in this nice container. So you can tell that these 3 things go along with the directional multi-lock. Here we have directional multi-lock and directional multi-lock combo. It might just be nice just to say combo. I mean, now that we know that it's within the container here, we can see that this combo obviously must be the directional multi-lock. So it's just less text. So I'm going to remove the word combo from all of these as I move them into containers. All right. Now, just to kind of keep things consistent, what I might do is add another container here for the date times. And we can set our container to be a 1-to-1 layout like this. So that way the 2 things are side by side. And let's give some text. Select which dates you need the kit. So what's cool about side-by-side containers is that, you have them side by side, so that it just takes up less space visually, which is nice. Okay, so now that we have the form built out, so let's choose 13th. And let's say I need the ABC. I'm going to do the directional multi-lock. And the color multi-lock. Three-digit lock, 4-digit lock. Let's just do all of it just to see. Okay, and submit. Okay, now regarding logic, we have this timestamp, start needed, end needed, but we also need to know when it was turned back in. Maybe some additional notes as well. So I'm going to add 2 new columns. I'm going to do a date time column for checked in, and then notes. All right, so if it's not checked in, that must mean that the kit is checked out. So we can create an if then else column here and call it status. And we'll say if checked in is empty, then checked out, else available. Maybe we can have some colors in there. Green and red. All right, we can display that status here on the kit. So really, we need to grab No, it's okay. Okay, so the kit, we need to look up the latest status. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and create a relation between the kit name. I'll say relation to log. So we'll do a relation where the kit name matches the checkout log kit. Match multiple. Then we're going to grab the last status. Single value. And the single value, we're going to get the last of from the relation to log status. Okay, so checked out. I'll just create another if then else here. We'll call it status. And we'll say if the relation to log is empty, then it must be available. Else we'll grab the status. Okay. And then we can display that status maybe in the meta like that. So it's kind of redundant that we have available and available down here. That's okay. So for options, we're going to just do a filter where status is available. Yeah, I guess we don't really need to show the meta there. It's just redundant. And it's taking a lot of space. So maybe I'll do that instead. Then I'll clone this one. For checked out kits. And this will be where status is checked out. And just to differentiate these, we can have the style be minimal, so it looks kind of like grayed out, kind of. And we can add a separator between the two. And if it's a checked out kit, we don't want to open the form. Instead, we want to maybe see the log of this checked out kit. So we're going to do a show detail screen of not this item, but of the relationship to the log. So we need a relation. Let's see, can we do that? Can we do a single value whole row? Let's see, we'll get the last from the rel log whole row. And this is be last log row. Because I think we can do a show detail screen of this. Let me see if I'm right. Show detail screen of last log row. Yeah, there we go. And again, we want to show it in a large or small overlay, I guess. So it'll look like this. Okay, so now we can fill out, we can show the different items. So we don't need to show breadcrumbs. So the title will be, the name of the person is fine, the timestamp when they checked it out. Okay, so let's play around with some of these components. We'll do big numbers maybe for like checked in, checked out, or nah, that's too big. It can be boring. I just do fields. Like this, where we do the, I think all I need to know is the combos. So the ABC multi-lock, directional multi-lock, color, shape. Digit and 4-digit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 entries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. So, I mean, kind of boring, you know, but functional and was quick to do. But we do need to have some place on here that shows me when it was needed. No, maybe we'll tap into big numbers, even though I don't. It's kind of overkill. That's okay. Start. Date needed. Wish I could clone the items. I clone a button or clone the items within it. I'm gonna make that a feature request. And date needed. We don't need times, so we'll get rid of the times on there. Just date only. That looks fine. I mean, I guess we could also do the multi-locks this way. Wonder what that would look like. So this would be hard to trash these. It would look like this, but I could make it here instead. It could look all right. Yeah, it looks a little cleaner than this down here. A little fancier. I like fancy. Cool. This looks a little muddled. So let's add some things in a container. And then a container here as well. So this container can be a card container to kind of make it inline or inset. And then this container at the top can be like a colorful container, like boom, like that. So actually I don't really need a container at the bottom one then. That looks a little cleaner. All right, and then we need to check it in. So back in the title up here, we're gonna create an action button. We'll call this check in kit. Let's make it stand out a little bit by maybe putting a green checkbox in front. There we go. That kind of stands out a little bit better. I could put a big button here as well, but I want to keep it smaller. So check in kit, and all this is going to do is we need to open up a edit form. I want to prompt them for notes and then set a timestamp. Maybe what we do is we show an edit screen. This item will replace what they currently see. So it'll look like this. I don't know if there's a way to go back though. Okay, there is. That's good. So we'll name this check in kit details. There we go. Okay. So they can go back to the check-in kit. Cool. And we'll call this screen check-in. So maybe this will be really it's more like a checkout kit details. Check-in kit. And just so it's not too jarring, we'll keep the same style. So we're going to go ahead and add in a container at the top. Add the breadcrumbs. Add a title. Container can still be that accent color. All right, so if they go back, it won't be too jarring. Maybe we keep the breadcrumbs at the top too. Yeah, looks pretty good. Okay, so we'll keep the same name. We can make this small. And all we're going to do is ask for their name, RME notes. So do a text entry. We can give them a place to write, like describe your experience and or any complications with the kit. Do a current date and time for the checked in. So that's making them write something. All right, so to finish up this form, we hit submit. There's just an edit screen that's going to mark that check-in time, which then completes our logic for making the whole kit available. Oh, we need to go back a screen then too, don't we? So, and we only want to be able to check in once. So we need to make that happen. Okay, so check-in kit. So we need an action. Oh, not here, sorry. Delete. On submit. So edit form on submit. If they're checking in the kit and they're hitting submit here, we can do a couple of things. We'll play a sound. Auditory feedback. We can show notification. Kit checked in. And we can close the overlay. All right. We'll call this check-in. All right, let's try it. There we go. Kit checked in. Now it's available again. All right, so it took us about an hour or so to complete this checkout system. Not terribly flashy, but functional, and it has some nice features in here. For example, to be able to differentiate whether or not it's available or not, being able to dive into a form if it is available. We have some containers and some visual logic to only show the combinations for the locks that they need. We have some ability to copy and paste functionality here, and then when they're ready to submit, then the kit will be checked out. And when they're ready to check it back in, they can just tap and check it back in. Now, if you're looking to build out something similar for yourself, check out the description below where you'll find a link to book a time with me. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching.